what makes your sense of confidence, your sense of masculinity, your ambition, your sex, how good you are with women, how you communicate, how you have relationships, your presence of masculinity, your entire of expression that comes from within out, cannot be changed in 3 days. It can't be changed in 5, 10, 30, whatever the next best workshop intensive on men's development is. And see, I'm making this video because we had a webinar just this last weekend with the 21 convention. If you're a part of the 21 University, what's happening? You can see the webinar there, and it's pretty easy to access. I think it's like $1 to get started. Go to the 21convention.com to check it out. We were talking about a lot of things coming up. We were talking about behavioral change, how things work, and how people actually change who they are, and a lot of the mistakes that they run in. And see, it's interesting because when it comes to dating and seduction, we look at the skill, we look at the what. Can I learn this skill? If I learn this method, that gaining confidence, talking to women, sexual escalation, these are skills. And if I do them and repeat them and do them as I learn a skill like math or going to school or getting good grades or whatever it is, woodworking, gardening, yada, 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 then I can do it. I can have all the benefits of that. But see, it's different because for human behavior, and especially human behavior for the things that we were born to be, our ambition, our drive, our sense of purpose, our sense of identity, our health, our fitness, our sex, our relationship, our social skills, our ways of sexually connecting, we learn it a different way. It takes a behavioral route. And we're talking about this a lot because 90% of diets fail. Doesn't matter what the diet is. It could be paleo, it could be macrobiotic, it could be, whatever it is, caloric. It could be a fitness plan of high intensity. It could be cardio mix, CrossFit, whatever it is. And there's all sorts of argument about that. But the thing is if we are trying to work a diet as a human being, and how we work and how we try and restrict and how we build a regimen and how we build an absolute of how things have to be, within 2 years it will be broken. In fact, the statistics are, you can see this with diet and exercise, you can see this with addiction and recovery, and you can also see this in pickup. But with diet and exercise and addiction and recovery, the stats are really clear. That if you start a diet, 90% of you won't just fail, but 90% of you will be worse off than you started. That means the best thing that you can do to lose weight is not get on a diet and learn a different way to live. We see this in pickup all the time. We see this in seduction. I'm going to take a boot camp. I'm going to invest my all. I'm going to watch every RSD video, every simple pickup video. I'm going to obsess about the infield clowns who are basically making a joke of masculinity and sexuality and femininity and what it means to be a man for the masses because, hey, to somebody who's never gotten laid, to somebody who has no experience with women, this is what a man is. This is what a man does. And what happens? What has happened over the years? Over the past 10 years of being infused and inundated with workshops, and all of us know somebody. All of us know somebody who went and paid 10 grand and spent, 10 days on the latest and greatest thing, or 5 days or whatever it is, and they came back swearing how much it changed their life. And 6 months later, you look at them and what has changed? Has their lifestyle changed? Has any of the guarantees been fulfilled? And see, the thing is how the sexual life has always worked as a company was before it was ever set out on making money, being successful, having an international draw. From 10 years ago, its main goal was to change men. And I myself, huge experience in the addiction and recovery sense. I've worked on that side of the fence longer than I've worked with men, which is I've worked with men in dating and seduction for over 10 years. But when we work with that kind of change, when we work to get that sort of result where our beliefs, our mindset, our actions, how we live changes, it isn't dependent upon extremes. It isn't dependent upon building boundaries and absolutes of how you have to be. But it is dependent upon finding a way of life, finding a simple daily action of how we can be social, be socially healthy, be sexually healthy, be more of an expression of what our identity in masculinity is, going for the femininity that we're interested in, drawn towards, and how we can make that connection work, than pulling a set, getting a lay, getting a number, doing an approach, doing an extreme, pushing your comfort zone. but more or less, how can we hold the tension of masculinity in the life that you have around you today? And think about that. How many times do you avoid your masculinity? How many times do you avoid feeling what you're feeling right now to push your comfort zone and do something extreme outside of yourself because that's what it's supposed to be? Because that's what the pussies on YouTube who are doing some clown ass shit to get attention, because that's what sex is for them, in order to prove your masculinity, in order to get out of your own tension. See, the fundamentals, the absolute fundamentals, if you want change, if you want true behavioral change, and this is what TSL does, and it's done it for 5 years. In fact, we've been in business longer, but TSL Online, and what it's done for 5 years, consecutively, over and over, course after course, over 20 of them done. It never has stopped. There's alumni from the very first course on the 20 hours of calls we have a week, every week. Is the result of that is change, is behavioral change, how we live. The result of that is confidence. The result of that is not needing a lay count to define you. The result of that is not needing this external definition of masculinity to define you, but it is an individual expression of every single different person who's been a part of our course, who's shared with us, who's worked with one another on how we can be a socially evolved man, a sexually evolved man that has, amazing sex lives that vary from, it could be polyamory to multiple women, to promiscuity, to monogamy. A social life of adventure, of travel, or perhaps building your home underneath you. But the thing is that is very consistent with that is men stop searching. They come here, they stay. They don't dance around. They don't buy workshop after workshop. They don't look for something outside of themselves because they don't have it. They gain the confidence within. Their lives change into an expression which I cannot define and predict because it's up to them and it's individualized. And the fundamentals which make that are, number one, we learn a skill that is based on ourselves. We learn a skill that is based on authenticity. We, too, build a community of men that meet almost daily to interact with one another. In fact, like we said, there's 15 to 20 hours of calls a week. You only have to be on one. But we build a community of equals that works with one another. And the other thing that is so massively important is we turn it into a daily action. Being sexual, being a man is every day. It is every thought. It is every moment. It is right now, as you are in front of this computer watching this. It is before you go to sleep. It is when you sleep. It is when you are hurt. It is when you are sad. It is when you want something. It's when you're afraid, and it's when you're empowered. But if you want to have the virtues of masculinity, you need to be you during that. And that is the beauty. That is the absolute beauty and difference of what we offer at the Sexual Life at TSL Online.